much on. I mean, Argentina, we know the players there are able to bounce back, and they're doing that right now. They're going to be really fun to watch throughout the rest of the night. But Hunter, it is time to go in to our final series tonight as Peru takes on Guatemala. Now, everyone, if you haven't been seeing Guatemala play, you are in for a treat. They play differently than anyone else in this tournament so far. They play different tanks. You normally do see them maybe play something a little bit different on the DPS line, but support lines always around the same. Looks like Vinzi going to be coming in to start off for them. Marlio as well. Glacier, though, is going to be the person you really want to watch out for on this Guatemalan team. They play Rhine. They play Hog. They play Orisa. Tanks that we have seen really the least of so far of anyone. On the other side, Peru. This is a team that has been able to show us a lot throughout a lot of the play here, but they are playing essentially for their lives as dropping a close series against Costa Rica. In their last one, puts them in a spot where they cannot afford to lose another game.
Yep, and with that, that's done and dusted. Point opens up. Peru, easy take. And the real benefit of this Guatemalan team is their aggression that they're able to take. But again, I think these are two of the most aggressive teams we have here within the entire Conference Cup going on here this weekend. So you have to be more aggressive in this situation if you are Glacier in this Guatemalan team. You can't afford to sit back and poke away.
And look, already Guatemala is making a swap here, going over to the Ramatra instead. Let me just correct myself. They did lose to Puerto Rico, not Costa Rica. But Pago on this Reaper, we've seen him play Reaper a lot. And, I mean, they just go right after the tanks. Persona can be able to clean up Richie, and Pago back at full health, looking just to chunk down Glacier.
Yeah, and they're trying to keep everybody alive best that they can right now. Reload saves Glacier right there. You could potentially be looking at a method right here where they might try to bypass the choke as best they can and just go to the outside. But to be fair, I don't think Peru's going to let them do that either.
No, and again, we talked about Peru. Peru and Chile, maybe might be the two most aggressive teams in this tournament. They love to take space, but right now they have to just give up all that space here as Pago barely escaping right there.
Yeah, now they're going to keep moving on forward. Fix, nice headshot right there. Going to try to get everybody's trying to run out of this one alive right here as Vito will go down. Headshot to the back of the head there. Already 6% on the board. And unfortunately, with the way these fights have gone, they're just going to have a Kitsune rush for this fight. That's it.
I mean, right now, if you're Peru, I think you try to slow play this fight. I mean, you really do. I give up some space here to Guatemala. Hold on to these ultimates. Try to make this the final fight of this map as Vito now makes another swap here, going over to the Bastion. This Zarya, I think, is getting to them here a little bit. They want to get rid of those bubbles fast.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's just not going to work out. It is a quicker fight, so maybe it plays into them a little bit more. But unfortunately, they're not going to get beaten out. And now it's just going to be a bummer to the point is they're going to consider rush the very front. They're going to be just staying through. And the problem is because of how aggressive they were, I don't know if anyone has a reliable touch to get over to this point right here as Pogo's clearing some bodies out. And that is honestly as dominant gets.
You were about 5 seconds ahead of me.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, that's cool. I was a little fearful of that. But
yeah, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out when the gates open up here. But I mean, a great round there for Peru. Again, this is a team that desperately needs this victory. Guatemala, they can still afford a loss, but they would like to have a victory going into the final day with one loss. And you see the stats there. Pago the only one to die, but Key is gonna be, pardon the pun, the key for Puerto Rico, Peru going into this entire thing, especially playing the Zarya. You look at the other side, you have big counters with Glacier playing the Ramatra, Vito basically being that bubble popper. Hunter, me and you talked about a lot when Zarya was very strong, that bubble popper comp. You don't care if you highly charge Zarya, you just want to make sure those bubbles are gone. Hey, tell me what time you're at.
I'm at good old 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, all right, 11. I'm kidding. But they are moving on forward. Glacier matching the Zarya is indeed very interesting. Unfortunately, it's already not working out all too well as Vito down early. Cleanse has to be used just to keep them alive for a little bit longer. But Pogo may be a little too aggressive right there. Dora potentially opens up the comeback, but Richie gets somehow moved off the edge by Key. And unfortunately with that, it feels like you can hang around, but I don't know how much good that might do you here.
I mean, they're going to hang around, especially because Glacier's highly charged. They don't want to necessarily lose this by just falling back. And, I mean, they're chunking down Key here. And you have Vito right back in here just pumping in damage. But Pago going to be able to find them. They get the quick flip, though.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you just have nothing to build up to in time, so this is going to be 10% at best right here, as Glacier, last one alive, is going to get a bit more charge, and yeah, 9% it will be. Glacier is able to build up a lot, though, is going to match Key on the charge build up to that Graviton Surge, and because the beats are just slightly behind, that could end up mattering big time.
Yeah, and Richie going back over to this cast. We watched Richie play this cast yesterday, and man, they just never miss shots.
Never missed those big shots. But now is kind of a potential struggle right here as Katsuna Rush, and bye-bye, Vito. I just saw you go flying. Graviton Surge as they somehow don't drop into the hole, but honestly, might have been for the better as they're going to be cleaned up right here. But the bright side is you get the Graviton Surge out, and as big boop onto Marleo, you still have the beat and your own Graviton Surge.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a huge play right there for Peru, just to hold on to all that as still. But you look over at Guatemala. Oh, Pucko's looking for it. Pucko's gonna get it here, actually. No, they're gonna hold on to it, but I don't think they're gonna be able to escape it. Oh, someone's gonna be dropped into the pit this time.
Yeah, they're gonna run through right now. Certainly, yeah, but I say Pucko does not do it, and now you're hanging on the point right now as Persona would love to get somebody on the way out. Unfortunately, not gonna be the case right now as yeah, Ishar just gonna reset. 78% though. You would love to see it if you're Peru, and now, again, your Persona having that overclock that has been so deadly with it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Guatemala, they just need to get control of the point. I think they are a much more confident team when they have control of it. Peru, though, they're going to come back in very quickly. I mean, you see Puggo looking for it. Vito, though, can start off with the artillery, and they just need to focus in on someone here.
Yeah, and you see us... Bye, Persona. It was good knowing you, buddy. But the whole different story going on. Vito and Richie get their own as the second person off the map in this fight. As Vito finds that, and to be fair, now you have the Deadeye coming up online here, but it's your only line of defense right now.
But, I mean, Richie has been able to use it in the past. I think normally, though, we've seen him with the cat. They don't have that this time.
Yes.
It's going to be used mostly as a zoning tool. But, again, you're watching for Puggo. You're watching for Persona. I would not be surprised to see both those opens come out at the same time, Hunter.
Dude. Yeah, Vito was just really too far forward right there. Puggo's got rid of a second one. Deadeye is going to get diddly squat as they will end up running it down, but I don't know if it's going to matter in the grand scheme of things as Puggo's going to get rid of 3 with the Death Blossom, and now they are going to push on forward.
And this is exactly what you need there if you're Peru. Puggo taking some space. If they can get rid of Vito here early on, as you already start to see him pressure them out, now they just need to get... No, but they find Marleo. Huge pick right there. As they've lost their speed. I think they've really lost their touch. Glacier, they're going to have to be the one now to do it.
Yeah, and it's not going to be easy right now because if I'm Ishtar, I am waiting for that to come through, and they're going to try for it. They will come up short, though, and that's Peru taking this first one away. Guatemala doing their best to fight back, scrappy as it was, but Peru is looking in really good form right now.
Yeah, and again, this is what you need from Peru. Quick thing, thank you to Swam for raiding us here right now. It was really fun to work with you with Team Poland again, and now for everyone who's joining us right now, you're watching the Conference Cups for the Americas. Peru currently sitting on the outside of that top 3. Guatemala so far probably the biggest surprise of this tournament. Just lost their first one earlier to Argentina, who has been the hottest team so far today. Argentina, though, going up against Chile, who is the only undefeated team left at the moment. But Peru, that's exactly what they needed right there to really get themselves righted. But for Guatemala now, they have lost 3 maps in a row. They are starting not to look like the team that went undefeated at day 1 and looked really good at the start of the day 2. This is going to be what I said. It was going to be the biggest test for them at the end of the day today.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be. So now we're in this situation. The biggest thing you can do moving forward now is put yourself in the best situation possible to be able to go into the second map with momentum on your side. And the way you do that, obviously, is I think having the crucial band, having the crucial map pick, both that I think should be simple, all things considered, because you could take this to a point where obviously Brawl is king, but also you decide what to get rid of. And I think there's a couple of good choices. You could potentially go down the route of that Zarya. And while Key, that's not their only tank, it has been, I think, maybe the biggest fixture in shutting them down in a lot of these really aggressive fights that, unfortunately, while you saw a lot there from Glacier to match the Zarya, it just ended up not being enough.
Yeah, and like I said, going into the map, and I pardon the pun then, I'll pardon it now, Key is the key for Peru here. That DPS line's good, that support line's good, but Key is just going to be the player that Peru really needs to get hot fast and then stay hot. especially if they're playing Zarya, no matter what tank they're playing, just stay hot. We have seen Glacier really take over games playing these, I'm not going to say oddball tanks with the Rhine, but Hog, I think you definitely could say, is an oddball. Orisa a little bit as well. They've played those tanks really good. I think the key thing here for any team that's going up against Guatemala is getting Glacier off Rhine, off Hog, force him over to something else, force him over to the meta. Because I always feel like that just puts you in a spot where you think you're going to be able to beat them.
Oh, yeah. No, you're entirely right about that right there. And now kind of moving forward, Guatemala kind of needs to get back to the mindset I felt like they were in previously against some of these teams, because while like the Honduras game at the very beginning of the day when they played, 6 hours ago, it feels different than now. They felt very open to take all the aggression on Honduras. They felt so confident. It felt like they played a little bit more scared in the situation. They backed out a lot. They weren't as aggressive. And part of that comes from Peru being a super aggressive team themselves, playing up really hard on these chokes and not giving you room to move over towards the point to where you can kind of play your own angles and force fights indoors. Peru wasn't allowing that. At this point, you trust that Rudder knows, hey, this is what they want to do. We know what we need to do to stop it. Now it is on this Guatemalan squad that after that unfortunate game to Argentina, they need to find an answer here, or they are going to be flying by the seat of their pants for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, and like I said, this was the first of their 2 tests that they're going to have. They still have to play the other couple teams that are ahead of them right now in the standings tomorrow. I mean, hell, they start off tomorrow against Chile. Then they immediately play Costa Rica, who, while having some struggles early, have won their last game, still put themselves, if they win out tomorrow, give themselves the best shot to sneak into that 3rd spot. And then their final games against Puerto Rico, who currently is sitting number 2 in the standings. I mean, if you're Guatemala and you want to qualify, you need to be able to win 2 of those games, and you need to be able to come back in this one here.
You absolutely have to. And it's going to be rough to be able to pull that off right here, but you have to, it feels like. It feels like for both these teams, it's a really big game that they have to win because, again, you still have Guatemala, who has their biggest test going in tomorrow, within Chile still going on. Peru has a couple of tough games on their own, including that game with Argentina. That is the very last one of the day tomorrow. Mm-hmm. There's a lot both these teams still have to experience. And even if they win this game, it doesn't take them out of the clearing, but it gives them a resurgence. It gives them ability to go into that knowing, hey, if we win this, we should be a lock. And to be fair, I think given the games that are left for them as well outside of that, I genuinely believe that to be the case, that we might look back on this game being, this might have been the decider right here.
Yeah, it really could be. Right now, though, I want to give you a quick update on what's going on in our other series, Argentina and Chile. Argentina won the first point on Busan, currently, I'm going to say about halfway through on the second point. Not going to say necessarily what the percentage is, but Chile currently winning the second point at the moment here.
Yeah, 100%. We'll see, because there's a likelihood we do go to that third, all things considered, but obviously we'll kind of keep you in on that loop when we can. Obviously, our priority right here is with this match to end out our night, which is the Peru and Guatemala. But we'll see how things go from here as we get ready to kind of get our second map set up here shortly. And again, we talk about where you want to go realistically here, and I think there are a couple of really good choices, especially some maps that we've seen in the pool very frequently. For me, Atlas comes to mind. Even though there is quite a couple of high grounds to work with, that first point might not be the best. We did see them pull it off in that game yesterday. I believe it was against Ecuador that they needed to bounce back on it, and they bounced back hard.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Guatemala, I think you're bringing us to Atlas. That's been their best map of this tournament so far. Because especially when you look at all the series they've played, this has normally been the second map, because I feel like they struggle on control maps. And then they end up winning the second map, going to the third map with that momentum and doing really well. And you have to expect the Rhine coming out from Glacier. That has been a surprisingly huge pick for them this entire Conference Cup right now.
Been a massive pick for them. That's what they've been able to kind of like make their bread and butter this entirety of this entire tournament. And it's worked out very well, but now people are figuring it out. And now it's getting a little tougher to pull it out and have the same level of effectiveness that they've been able to find in a lot of other situations where you have these other teams that needed these big wins to get the thing started, but it was Guatemala that was getting all of them. But guess what, Dex? We are officially ball knowers as Atlas, the next map up here.
Yeah, we're officially ball knowers, unlike some of the people who did those power rankings day one. I think some of them even admitted it. And I will say this, quick update on the other series. Going to point 3 on Busan. Chile able to come back, able to kind of finish the deal there on that second point as we now head over here. And again, this is the thing that we're going to be talking about coming into this one here as I'm trying to move something so I can actually see the rosters. But Glacier on this Rhine, this is their hero, especially for this map. Guatemala, like I said, has been bringing every team to this map for really good reason. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to agree. You're entirely correct about that. But again, you need to see no hesitation from the squad to move in and take full advantage of this instead. Glacier hanging around, waiting for the right opportunity to kind of move in separation. And Ishtar exposed themselves early, and now here comes that aggression we know from this team well, as you're going to see the pin come through and somehow, again, avoids it. Yeah, and that one is done and dusted. Dexys, they're going to be able to take this point away on their first fight. And for Guatemala, if they can have more fights like that, this should be a lot more even of a series.
Yeah, and we talked about this a lot. This Ryan's a really weird thing to play into. You don't play into a lot. You don't practice for it. So especially in this close quarters map where the Ryan shield will block a lot, you see how the entirety of Guatemala is playing. Outside of Vito right now, they're playing behind that Ryan shield.
Yeah, you have to. Now Richie gets rid of another. You see the separation, but here's the thing. You win that fight, the point flip comes through. And that is a bit of a boom because everyone has to kind of run back, give up their positioning. And while Puggo is going to be able to get out alive, that's still easily a 16% that you have now given up.
But look at Glacier, look at Richie, look at Vinzi. They have ultimates this fight. The only one that can say that right now for Peru is going to be Fix, who has that consumer rush ready to go. Just watch out for this shatter. Glacier's been able to just win fights with this.
There's he come through as the slam comes through, and it's going to catch on to two big ones right here. Big cleanse, unfortunately, it's slightly mistimed, and Key got to go down regardless, but post bomb, big stick. Puggo almost had Vincent walk right into him, and now Puggo is going to clear out this point. Vito is going to opt to try to get out alive instead, which I think it may potentially a mistake instead of just stalling the point a bit longer.
I mean, yeah, a little bit there, but still, I think they were hoping that maybe it was just Puggo left on the point. Not going to be the case. And you look at Key now, getting off for the Queen, going over to this Malga instead. We talked about Bubble Popper's last map with that Zarya coming out and the Bastion for Vito. Now, though, you essentially have the Shield Destroyer with Malga coming out now for Key.
Yes, you do. And now Casino Rush still ready to go. You're hoping Ishtar can get this online as, oh my god, the cleanse doesn't come out in time. You lose the carrier lane now. All you can do is go into 4v5. Take as much aggression as you can, but you see they're trying to chase down Key, who is just backing out, running away. He gets booped to high heaven somehow. And this is just not going to work out at all for Guatemala.
No, not at all here. They do still have members alive, so they could come back into this one pretty quickly if they want to try. And you do see him getting set up over there, but Key, I think, stunning them out. One will touch. It is Glacier, but they will fall.
Yeah, that won't be done and dusted as cleanup comes through. Persona gets rid of Richie. Richie, who again was on fire from everything we saw yesterday, and let me tell you, they kept up with that earlier today against Honduras. But unfortunately right here, as many shots as they're finding, it really is Puggo that is just finding people out.
Yeah, and I mean, Puggo's been a really good player so far. As my stream got a little chunky there for a moment.
Same here, but we're all lined up still.
But Puggo, whether they're playing the Reaper or whether they're playing their Tracer, they are a really good flex DPS player. You have to be wary of them here, as you already see them going right after Vito. And, I mean, they have ultimates ready. Marleo could really invest the beat here just to try to get something going, but I think you're only playing into Peru's hands if you do that.
I think so as well. Just waiting for your opportunity to strike right here as Persona got extremely low, does end up being cared for. And you see, again, Puggo, who is just harassing the back line. And this opens up the door as the full wipe is going to come through as Persona gets rid of two right there. Again, we saw how much of a beast they were yesterday as well. From everything we've seen, I'm going to be real, this is maybe one of the strongest duos of DPS we have seen all weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I put them just probably outside of that duo that Chile has right now when it comes to it. But you still see Puggo kind of lurking around, almost one-clipping Vito, who has that Death Blossom here, playing for their life right now. I almost thought they might have ended up shooting the Death Blossom.
Oh, no. This is out, but Richie's down anyway. Vito's going to go for it. Rough situation. Doesn't get anybody, though. And it's just Peru cleaning up shop once more. They're in such prime territory that if Glacier doesn't turn this next fight with the Shatter, this is going to be a really hard one to come back from.
Yeah, and honestly, if the Shatter doesn't win you the fight here, you really do have to start considering making some swaps off the Rhine here. I know this has been your bread and butter pick for this map, but you need to make those swaps.
You have to. You genuinely have to right now. Big Stun comes through though, and Shatter is here. It's going to catch on to just one, unfortunately. It's the one person you probably didn't want to have to catch with that. The one person who wasn't going to die from a pin. And now Persona has already gotten rid of 2, gets rid of 3, gets rid of 4. It's just Vito hanging around. Key will take it away. But now map point online, Peru. A game they really needed to win here today. They are 1 point away from pulling it out.
Yeah, again, this is just, you needed it. They needed this performance, and you can see him playing angry, and Puggo is playing angry. Same thing with Ishtar, who at times today has kind of struggled, but now you're just seeing this Peru team play up to their potential.
No, you are. And now they should be able to truck on forward without much resistance, going over to take the point, as Glacier's going to go over to the Sigma. So like, we haven't really seen them on. That's the situation that Guatemala's in right now, to where it feels like they don't know what to do here.
No, they really don't. But like I said, Ryan wasn't going to work. They needed to make the swaps, and they made the swaps there. And this has to be the breaking point for them right now, as you already see Peru get that first cap.
Yep, doing their best too. Big fight, hopefully, incoming right here. Richie needs to find a cleanup. Big stink, though! Exactly where it needed to be, and that's going to be another cleanup crew coming through once more. Persona, another 2 to finish out the fight, and my god, and now they're going to play aggressive with the cage fight as Glacier swaps again.
At this point, you can kind of tell Guatemala is just grasping at straws. They're hoping that something works. Your Cage, though, going to be able to capture Glacier in it, and you just see almost everyone else just kind of join their tank in there, and they'll be joining their tank back in the spawn here in a matter of moments.
Yeah, I don't know if Persona's died yet. I'd be curious to find out if that's the case or not.
They've died.
But, yeah, I would probably think maybe they did. But
First fight.
No. But hey, look at all these ultimates you have online, though. You've got something to work with, but can you even touch? Oh my god.
Persona, it really depends if Persona just decides not to click your head.
Yeah, they're just pushing back one at a time. Catches another right there. And at this point in the game, Peru may have had some rocky starts, but it is nothing but domination for them here today, as Vito is over on the point, I believe, does have a pulse bomb sitting by. Would love to make it stick. Unfortunately, the wall is not a playable character, as you're going to have to see Vito go out one more time. Marlio's here for a very quick touch, for that matter. They're doing their darndest. They really are, Dex. They're going one at a time, hoping to find some kind of pick. But it's all done, and it's over. Second loss delivered to Guatemala, but a must-win for Peru here today. Puts them in a good position going into tomorrow.
And now that moves only 3 teams to 1 loss, or actually 3 teams with 1 or less losses left in this thing. So, I mean, if you're one of those teams with 3 losses, say Ecuador, Costa Rica, I think you now look at tomorrow as still having a good chance at being able to qualify. But Peru, this was the bounce back they needed. Again, they lost to Costa Rica, one of those teams that you have to remember, they're playing with their backs against the wall, as they were 1-3 going into that game. They desperately needed that game to keep themselves alive. Costa Rica was able to find it. Peru does the same thing here now. I am so sorry I'm messing that up, but Peru does that same thing here now, keeps themselves alive, moves themselves also into 4th place here, going into our final day of action. And I will give you an update on the other game. When all 3 points, 99-99 on the 3rd point, Chile comes out on top of that one.
Yeah, it's really back and forth, and it feels like it should hopefully be back and forth the next map between them, maybe 2 maps between them for all we know. Did you see who was on what side, by the way? Because I'm trying to, in my brain, rack and figure it out.
Chile was on the right.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to set that up, because obviously I think we're going to help do this one, and then I think that's realistically our night right there. But no, that's phenomenal. But the fact that Argentina is pushing them that far, that is very telling as to what this squad can actually do.